Qué difícil es en la vida predicar con el ejemplo, porque el mundo de hoy los maestros nos encantan, los que hablan bonito, los que se paran allá arriba, los políticos hablan lindo. El problema muchas veces es que no se predica con el ejemplo y ahí vienen las decepciones. Así que el mundo de hoy en día le gustan los maestros, pero que son testigos. Y eso precisamente es lo difícil en la vida de fe, predicar con el ejemplo. En un mundo del cine, en un mundo artístico, es mucho más difícil predicar con el ejemplo por las grandes frivolidades y las grandes influencias que hay, donde la vida se vive sin Dios. Yo quiero hacer un reconocimiento a un actor que se llama Caviezel, que pareciera querer ser ese ejemplo, pareciera querer predicar con ese ejemplo, a pesar de estar rodeado de ese mundo del estrellato. Ese actor es nada más y nada menos que el protagonista de la película de Jesucristo, la Pasión de Cristo, que fue dirigida por Mel Gibson. Este actor tuvo que sufrir unas grandes consecuencias por haber sido actor y intérprete de Jesucristo. Él dice que gracias a ese papel él aprendió a fortalecer su fe y a ser más humilde. Sin embargo, Hollywood les hizo pagar caro a él y a Mel Gibson el haber hecho esta película, que hizo tanto bien, pero sin embargo, por otro lado, perjudicó la carrera artística de Caviezel, porque muchos papeles importantes, exitosos, fueron rechazados debido a que fue el actor de esta película. Hoy día le vuelven a preguntar a Caviezel si él haría la segunda parte de La Pasión de Cristo, que parece que se va a estrenar en el año 2021. Y él dice que sí, que lo volvería a hacer, porque él piensa que en la vida uno tiene un propósito y Dios a él le mostró el camino del artista para que fuera testimonio, y que a pesar de todo lo que ha tenido que sufrir, no solamente físicamente, sino también en su carrera artística, él lo volvería a interpretar el papel de Jesucristo en la nueva película de la resurrección. De hecho, también hizo una película muy bonita, que es la de San Pablo, el apóstol de Cristo. Hizo el papel de San Lucas, hermosa interpretación, y en todos esos papeles él dice que son oportunidades para él fortalecer su fe. Yo los invito a ver un discurso conmovedor donde él muestra la gran devoción que tiene a la Virgen, y donde él da el testimonio de que gracias a la Virgen y a Juan Pablo II, él ha tenido esa influencia que lo ha ayudado en su vida de fe. Yo los invito a todos a ver este discurso cuando tengan un tiempito, porque es un poquito largo, pero que vale la pena, porque es que cualquier cosa que yo diga no tiene comparación con la hermosura de este discurso. Espero que les guste y que tengan un maravilloso día.
Her hand has guided my life and my career in incredible and at times startling ways. For instance, back in 1997, I had auditioned for a role that every big name in Hollywood wanted, a role in Terrence Malick's upcoming film, The Thin Red Line. Now, the odds were against me, but I got a meeting with Malick. I pulled up at his house in Beverly Hills for my 6 o'clock meeting, but I couldn't leave the car. I was plagued by self-doubt. I made a decision that if this didn't pan out, if this didn't go through, I was going to have to hang it up. I didn't want to just drift along the rest of my life wondering if I was ever going to work consistently as an actor. It is 6 p.m. I was still in the car. I believe in my heart that the next 10 minutes changed my life forever. In my mind, I was a guy from Mount Vernon, Washington. I wanted to be a basketball player. What the heck was I doing outside of Terrence Malick's house? I'm an emotional mess, self-sabotage at full fury. So I started to pray the rosary. It is 6:05 p.m. and I'm still in the middle of the fourth glorious mystery. You see, 6 months earlier, my manager, who was a bit like a Catholic mystic, said that I should start praying the rosary on a daily basis. My wife, Carrie, taught me how to pray it. So following orders, I borrowed her grandmother's rosary. It was a precious antique heirloom. I started running them through my fingers and praying without even really knowing the mysteries. I'm already 5 minutes late for this major meeting with the most sought-after director in Hollywood, and I've not finished the decade, so I decide to press on. Hail Mary, full of grace. Hail Mary, full of grace. When I finally finish the Hail, Holy Queen, it is 6:10 p.m. I jump out of the car, dash up to the house, but I realize I got rosary beads in my hand. And so reluctantly, I went forward. My rational sense intervened. I knew nothing about acting, no agents, no managers. Hell, I can't even memorize to save my life, as you can see. But I had this conviction. I had a charge. So back on the curb in front of Terrence Malick's house, I decide to take this rosary with me and make my way to the front door. This little maid answers the bell, and on her neck is a miraculous medal. So I say, "Oh, you're a Catholic." She says, "No, I'm not. I'm Episcopalian. Come on in." So this maid takes me in, and she shows me the house. It's a beautiful Spanish hacienda. And as we're admiring the ceiling while the woman is in mid-sentence, I get this sensation in my chest again, but stronger than I had ever experienced. And without thinking, I reach for the rosary in my pocket, and I interrupt her, and I say, "This is for you, ma'am." She's now startled. She said, "Why did you do that?" Tears are now welling up in her eyes. I said, "I don't know." She says, "Oh, my God." She said, "The woman that gave me this miraculous medal, the Virgin Mary, also gave me a rosary that she got from Mother Teresa. But I lost it. And I prayed this morning that God would send me another one. And then you walk in. This woman is now collapsing in tears. I'm shell-shocked. There's a rosary in between us. And in walks the director, Terrence Malick. When he started with, "Honey, what's wrong?" it occurs to me, this ain't the maid. This is Mrs. Terrence Malick, his wife. And I thought, well, better book a return flight back to Mount Vernon, pal. When I got home, I told my wife, "Honey, I've got some good news, and I got some bad news. The good news is I may get the thin red line. The bad news is Granny's rosary is gone." That rosary and I believe that the intercession of Our Lady led to the first major role of my career in the Thin Red Line. We would be nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Cut to the spring of 2000. I was offered the role of Edmond Dantes in The Count of Monte Cristo. It was a new adaptation of the Dumas classic. This was the first time I had to carry a film on my own, and here I was at the pinnacle of what I long wanted to achieve, but I had no peace. I'm having masses said for this movie and trying to pray, but like you, I was never sure if my prayers were landing. An amazing thing happened. We are set to shoot a pivotal scene in the film in this grand house in Malta, and he points to the ceiling. Well, I'm in shock. I'm just standing there slack-jawed because there on the ceiling is a fresco of the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary. Now, Kevin Reynolds doesn't know a thing about Mary or the Catholic Church, so I said, "Do you have any idea what that is?" And in a Texas drawl, he says, "Yup," and leaves the room. Well, I was hesitant to add to that "yup," for fear that he would take the shot out of the movie, so I just kept my mouth shut. But it was a sign for me, a sign that the Lord and his Blessed Mother were with me. And through all my trials, Mary had been there all along, leading me by the hand, guiding me toward her Son and my vocation. And if you saw the Count of Monte Cristo, you know that that shot stayed in the film, and I am proud to say that I shared some screen time with the Mother of God. Then inexplicably, I get a call from Mel Gibson. Now, my agent didn't call. My manager didn't call. I didn't know Mel Gibson. I wasn't politicking for the role because nobody knew what was happening. Mel Gibson wants me to play Jesus Christ. He wants the guy with the initials of JC, who just happens to be 33 years of age, to play Jesus Christ. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so either. Filming the Passion of the Christ brought me even closer to Our Lady. The more you experience the Passion of Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, the more you understand the compassion of Mary, the connection between Mary and her Son. What mother does not suffer when her child suffers? On the very first day of shooting, the crowd rushed in around me. The guards hit me with whips, which hit my flesh. My arm was wedged under the heavy beam when someone yanked the top of the cross in the other direction. My muscles wrenched and my shoulders separated. I fell to my knees, dropped the cross, and buried my head in the ground. This take now remains in the film. Every day I picked up that thing, it was like a penance. It ripped into my shoulder, turning my flesh an angry red. With each passing hour, it got heavier. Then I had to hang on that cross. It was November in Matera, Italy, bone-chilling cold. And I'm up there on a cliff in only latex and a loincloth. On a cross, it is not the blood loss that kills you. It is the oxygen loss. You asphyxiate. So I'm gasping for air. My legs were going numb. And guess what? Hypothermia. To bring my core temperature up, they brought in these gas heaters. When they brought them too close, my toes started to fry and the latex began to melt. And that was before I was struck by lightning. And soon to follow, open heart surgery. But I offered up all of this suffering in union with Jesus and Mary for the success of the film, that it might lead souls to Christ. And boy, did it ever. The Passion reveals the obvious, very obvious, biblical truth that Mary, like no other, shared in the suffering of her Son as co-redemptrix. As St. Teresa of Calcutta exclaimed, of course Mary is the co-redemptrix. She gave Jesus his body, and the offering of his body is what saved us. When Mary walks the way of the cross with Jesus, she stands opposite Satan. She is his opponent. Mary's role with Jesus to crush the head of Satan is powerfully dramatized. In the Calvary scene, the dying Redeemer gives his own mother to become the spiritual mother of all peoples when he says from the cross, "Behold your mother," John 19:27. In the final scene, Mary becomes a living Pietà, holding the dead body of her divine Son. She looks to us all as our loving co-redemptrix who suffered in union with Jesus, and calls us all to appreciate the price of our redemption. There are a lot of deep theological truths that Mel Gibson wove into the Passion of the Christ. In this chaotic, confused age, ladies and gentlemen, we need truth. And it is true that Mary is the co-redemptrix. Well, Look at the moment in Scripture when Jesus asked the apostles, "Who do they say that I am?" Ladies and gentlemen, believe me when I say to you, Jesus was not having an identity crisis. He knew who he was, but he wanted the truth proclaimed. When Simon Peter announced the truth that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God, then and only then did Jesus found the church and the papacy on the rock of Peter, the first pope. I believe Jesus wants the full truth about his mother Mary, that she is this world's spiritual mother. She is the co-redemptrix. She is the mediatrix to be proclaimed by the present Pope so that our mother can utilize her full power of intercession to bring peace, true peace, to the world. My friends, in Jesus and Mary, this present world scene is one of unprecedented moral breakdown. Natural disasters and even greater global threats of war and terrorism are now looming in our midst. The killing of the unborn and now born children, sex trafficking children, over 10 million now. The power of Satan is evident no matter where we turn. Our whole world is in desperate need of the peace of Jesus Christ. And his peace, both spiritual and global, will only come to us as it did originally through the person of our mother, our mediatrix, our advocate. At Fatima, Our Lady promised that in the end, my immaculate heart will triumph and a period of peace will be granted to the world. Let us trust in these words of Our Lady. Let us pray, especially before our Eucharistic Jesus, for true and lasting world peace through the intercession of his mother, the mother of all peoples. She will keep her promise, but we must do our part.